What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the CJ Talks Sports channel. I am your host, Mr. Christian Jones, and today I am going to finally give my preview of the NBA playoffs, as well as who do I think is going to get to the NBA Finals. Again, before we can get off with this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, holla at your boy. Let's get on with the video. Starting with the Western Conference playoffs, we have the Utah Jazz matching up against the Memphis Grizzlies after advancing to the playoffs through the play-in tournament. Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Jonas Valanciunas, well done. Welcome to the playoffs. Hope you guys do not disappoint. As far as this matchup goes, I am going to have the Utah Jazz win this series in 5 games. I think this will be a great first-time experience being in the playoffs for Ja Morant and all of these young Grizzly kids. I think this is going to be an exciting first-round matchup. But in the end, I just think Utah has the experience, the defense identity. This game has the potential to go 6, but because of the lack of playoff experience for Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, I'm going to have Utah winning this series in about 5 games. Coming in at the 4-5 matchup in the West, you have the LA Clippers going up against the Dallas Mavericks. And as much as I would love to see the Clippers fall on their faces again after the disappointment of their playoff run last year, I'm going to have the Clippers win this series in 6. I think Kawhi and Paul George have something enormously to prove. I like the additions with Rajon Rondo, Nick Batum, and Luke Kennard. Guys who have been in the playoffs before. Rondo, he is that quarterback that the Clippers desperately need. I'm going to say Dallas win this series in 6. I still don't see how they match up well with the fact that Dallas could score points in bunches when you got guys like, again, Luka Doncic, you got former Nick Porzingis, and really, ultimately, this series is only going to last as long as Luka and Porzingis can carry them. If those two have a terrific series, then this series could go 7, and I could see Dallas pulling off an upset, but I really think with the addition of Rajon Rondo with Kawhi and Paul George, that Rondo is going to unlock something within this Clippers team, and they're going to advance in the second round. I got Clippers in 6. Coming in at the 3-6 matchup is probably the hardest matchup to predict. You got Denver matched up against Portland. Now, these two did meet up in the Western Conference Finals a few years ago, but Denver is so much better now. Joker is a different animal this time around. Obviously, no Jamal Murray, so this really comes down to the front court of the Denver Nuggets up against the back court of the Portland Trailblazers. I'm going to say Denver wins this series in 6. I do think Dame not having Jamal Murray is going to be a problem for Denver to match up with him. Not in terms of stopping him, but in terms of guys that could go toe-to-toe with him. If Jamal Murray were healthy, I pick this series probably in 5. But, again, the fact that Denver doesn't have much of a backcourt assisting them in a matchup like this, I'm going to have Denver winning this series in about 6 games. And then last but not least, Lakers matching up against the Phoenix Suns. Listen, Phoenix, great run, great playoff push. No one really saw this coming. You guys getting all the way to the number 2 seed. Chris Paul, right now, he's my pick for MVP, but I wouldn't have an issue if they were to give it to the Joker. This is going to surprise a lot of people. I got Lakers in 5. I think they're going to steal one of these home games in Phoenix. As you know, LeBron always liked to use that first game just to kind of test the waters to see to see truly how good his opponents are. I just the lack of playoff experience for the Phoenix Suns, as well as the fact that I just saw Anthony Davis drop a 40-piece on them a little over a week ago when Phoenix was still had a lot to play for. I think LeBron and AD are going to control the pace of this game. The Suns have no answer for Anthony Davis, and the fact that the Lakers has stayed as the number one defense throughout these playoffs. I mean, throughout the regular season is astonishing to me. I got Lakers in 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix does push them to 6 or 7. Now we're going on to the Eastern Conference round of the playoffs. You got the Philadelphia 76ers against the Washington Wizards, and I'm not going to waste any time much with these first round matchups. I got Philly in 5. John Wall and Bradley Beal, they'll give the Sixers, they can get you a game when needed. But the problem is that you don't know what Westbrook you're going to get, and plus Bradley Beal, I don't know how well his hamstring is going to be holding up. I could see a combination of either Beal or Wall dropping 40 and getting the Wizards a game. So yeah, that's how I'm going to predict this. I got Sixers in 5. At the 4-5 matchup, you got my New York Knicks going up against the Atlanta Hawks. This is probably the most enticing first round matchup because you have two young squads basically on the exact same timeline, and this is their first go around in the playoffs. For the Knicks being at home, being in front of Madison Square Garden, having one of the top ranked defenses in the game, I think we'll be able to slow down Trae Young just a little bit. But to me, the key matchup is going to be that pick and roll between Clint Capella and Trae Young. If we could slow that down, I could see the Knicks winning this game in 5 or 6. But I'm going to go Knicks in 6 because Atlanta, listen, they're dangerous, they're deep, they got elite 3-point shooting, and they're young, they're hungry. And I think the matchup against Clint Capella could be a potential nightmare. Nerlens Noel is going to have to put on his big boy pants on because that dude, he gets offensive rebounds like it's nothing. So, I got Knicks in 6 going on to the second round. The 3-6 matchup, as we're watching this now, I got the Bucks in 7. I'm going with the Bucks in 7 because I truly believe Miami, they are the one team that always has Milwaukee's number. They really do. That wall that they built last year against Giannis was ultimately his kryptonite. But I really believe that with the additions of Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker on the defensive side of the ball is really going to add a different element. But the key is going to have to be winning game 1. If the Bucks could get off to a good start in this series, then they're on the right track. But if they lose game 1, oh boy, ghost from last year. So I got Bucks in 7, but it's really going to come down to can they win? Can they take care of their home court? And last but not least, in the 2-7 matchup, Brooklyn Nets against the Boston Celtics. I would love to be as optimistic as I possibly can, but the Brooklyn Nets are going to absolutely roll the Celtics. I'll give them a game just because I think Tatum and Kemba can give you Kemba and Tatum will have favorable matchups against either KD or Harden or Kyrie for that matter. I just don't think the Celtics have enough juice to get past a talented team like Brooklyn. And plus the way Boston matches up against Brooklyn favors Brooklyn a ton because Boston doesn't have any like legit size on their front court. It's really just all perimeter guys with Tatum and Smart and Kemba. So unless one of those, unless one of the Celtics' young centers like Grant Williams or Tristan Thompson comes up big, I have a hard time seeing how. I have a hard time seeing how Brooklyn doesn't win this series in about 5 games. So now we're going on to the East. So now we're going on to the second round. You have the Philadelphia 76ers matching up against the New York Knicks. Great run, great season. Again, this season has been an absolute dream show for the New York Knicks, but this is where the series stops. Philadelphia is a title contender. The Knicks aren't there yet. 6-5. Though I could see the Knicks pushing the series to possibly 6 games, but that's about it. The New York Knicks season will come to an end, I feel like, in the second round. Then we get on to my upset of the playoffs. I know Brooklyn Nets fans are going to absolutely hate me for this, but I got the Bucks beating y'all in the second round. I see no answer for Giannis at all. Okay, you're not good perimeter. You're not good as far as perimeter defense. You're not good against bigs. And Milwaukee, with the additions of, again, guys like PJ Tucker, guys like Giannis, guys like Chris Middleton, who could play on both ends and give you 20 to 25 points. I got the Brooklyn Nets flaming out against the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games. And again, until I see Harden and Kyrie Irving get it done when it matters most, I don't trust the Brooklyn Nets at all. Going back over to the West Side, you have the Utah Jazz matching up against the LA Clippers, and I have another upset in mind. I'm going with Utah. I think they finally get to the Western Conference Finals. I said it last year. I think Mike Conley is the perfect sidekick to Donovan Mitchell. Again, I think the whole deal with the Clippers tanking out of the 3-6 spot just to avoid the Lakers until the Western Conference Finals. Well, guess what? This time around, you're not even going to get to the Western Conference Finals. I got the Utah winning this series in 7. But again, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted this matchup last year. I wouldn't mind getting it this year. But Clippers, they're gonna have to prove me right this year. I mean, they're gonna have to prove me wrong big time this year, because I just don't believe this team in the clutch when it matters most. I just don't. And then we have Denver matching up against the Lakers. Again, same thing that I said about Phoenix. I don't think Denver really matches all that well against the Lakers. If Jamal Murray were in this series, I probably would pick the Lakers, but in 7. But with the way that the Lakers defend on both sides of the ball, they have guys that they could throw at Joker. Guys like AD and Marc Gasol. I think the Lakers will win this series probably in 6. I think Denver has the firepower to match up against the Lakers. But at the end of the day, give me LeBron and AD over Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic. So Lakers going back to the Western Conference Finals, and they get a chance to go back to the finals against the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, this is the series where Utah earns everyone's respect. I think Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are going to have a terrific go around in these playoffs. I think much like the Miami Heat surprised everyone, Utah is going to be that team this year. I don't have them beating the Lakers, but I do have them pushing this series to 7. I think Utah's combination of 3-point shooting, ball movement, perimeter defense, rim protection, as well as Donovan Mitchell coming to his own, I got the Lakers winning this series in 7. But again, I am not counting out LeBron when it comes to getting to the finals. If the Lakers are healthy, they to me are by far and away the best team in the playoffs, without question. And then we get on to the Eastern Conference Finals, Philly against Milwaukee. We saw these two teams match up right before the playoffs started. I think Milwaukee is a great matchup for Philadelphia, but I'm rolling with Embiid and Simmons getting to the NBA Finals. We have the young guns in Embiid and Simmons versus the veterans, the superstars of this league, LeBron and AD, and I have the Lakers winning back-to-back finals, winning the titles back-to-back, the first 7 seed to ever win the championship. Lakers in 7. I think these playoffs is going to be enticing. I think you're going to see a team just come out of nowhere like Miami did. But yeah, that is my NBA event. That is my NBA playoffs predictions. I got the Lakers coming out of the West, Philly coming out of the East. I got Lakers in 7, and the Utah Jazz are my team for surprise come the playoffs. This is your boy CJ Talk Sports. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.